What's going on, everybody? It is the one and only Q here from Retro Q Gaming, and we can finally talk today a little bit about something that extremely epitomizes something I have been saying for, well, I guess it's a couple of years at this point. Now, if you've been paying attention to PC gaming over the last 2 or 3 years, you know that there's been a big change in regards to how games are distributed on the PC platform. Specifically, we have that scumbag company, Epic Games, coming in and throwing millions and tens of millions of dollars at games companies to offer them timed exclusivity on their store, despite Tim Sweeney saying that customers and consumers should have an option of where to buy their games. It's not really an option if that's the case. But depending on what way you look at it, some people say that the Epic Game Store situation is completely overblown, some say it's not. Now, based on everyone I've seen and everyone I've interacted with, and generally just the vibe of the places I go to, well, it seems like the Epic Game Store is realistically not taking off the way they wanted it to. Because let's face it, no one uses it for anything other than Fortnite. And I will illustrate that perfectly now in a minute. Because one thing that is important to note is that when all of these companies, they say, oh, we sold X amount on Epic or X amount at launch or whatever, it turns out that many of those companies are actually disclosing the money that they were paid by Epic as sales. Because Epic is, let's just say it's $10 million. They're buying $10 million worth of games from them in advance, and they're disclosing it that way. So they could technically sell no additional copies and still report hundreds of thousands of sales. It's very, very shady and very, very scummy. I mean, hell, even when The Division 2 came out, people went back to Uplay over buying stuff on Epic. But anyway, let me really drive home the point of why no one cares about the Epic Game Store, no one is using the Epic Game Store for anything other than Fortnite, and you'll see exactly why. We're going to look at something by Supergiant Games. It's one of their new indie darlings. This studio, Supergiant Games, have actually made a couple of these types of games before. They've had previous indie darlings like Bastion and Transistor. But the current hotness and current flavor of the month is there's air quotes for this one, new game called Hades. Now, Hades launched on Steam about 3 months ago, back in September, and it's got massive critical acclaim, including going up against high-profile AAA games for multiple different awards, including Art, Story, Game of the Year, etc. So it's become the new indie darling flavor of the month, getting 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, 5 stars, whatever it is. It's glowing reviews pretty much across the board. And you think, great, that's all well and good. Supergiant Games have released a new game and it's gone crazy. But oh, wait, it's not that easy. Even though it just came to Steam in September, the game has been out for 2 years on Epic. Think about that. 2 years and no one has heard of this game. 2 years and no critical acclaim, no fame, no anything from this game. I'm pretty sure I've never even heard the single name Hades as a game in the last 2 years. And now it's every second tweet I look at. And you may be wondering why that is. Well, now it's released to the biggest gaming market in the world, Steam. Because no one uses the Epic Game Store. No one wants to use the Epic Game Store. And even if you are one of those few people who can't resist the urge and go over for just one game that's timed exclusive or whatever it is, you're not going to go over and start buying everything day and date over there. You're not going to convert that to your main one for multi-platform. Well, I guess it's not really fair to call it multi-platform, but multi-store games. And this is complete evidence of this. It's not like stuff can even get buried in the Epic Game Store. Hell, even now there's not even a massive amount of games. But let alone 2 years ago when Hades did originally launch on there, imagine how barren that was. In fact, Hades was one of the first few games on the store. So imagine that. Imagine if you're one of the 20 games on the store and no one is still using it. No one is still buying it and no one is still playing it. You know why that is? Because no one is using the store. And 2 years later, no one is using the store.